felt like there's a hidden blueprint for success, a secret master key that could somehow unlock any door of opportunity in your life. Doesn't matter about your background or past failures, maybe. Imagine just one philosophy powerful enough to, well, transform your whole approach to everything.
Well, today we are diving deep into just such a philosophy. It's pretty compelling stuff, and it promises exactly that kind of transformative power.
Indeed. And our sources for this deep dive, they come from a foundational series by Napoleon Hill. It's profound stuff, really. He explores what he actually calls the master key.
The master key.
Yes. And it's an incredibly compelling look at what he identifies as, well, the immutable laws governing personal achievement. These are principles he meticulously observed, documented over decades of research. So our mission today, then, is to unearth these timeless principles. Not just tell you what they are, because you might have heard some of this before, but to really break down what they truly mean for you. And, most importantly, show you how to apply them directly to your own life. Get ready for some serious aha moments, I think, because the insights we're about to share, they could fundamentally, profoundly change the way you approach your goals, your challenges too, and your future, really.
Absolutely. We'll be exploring not just the mechanics, the what to do, but also the deeper wisdom behind it, why these principles actually work. We're trying to connect the dots here between these profound philosophical truths and genuinely practical, actionable steps. Stuff you can start taking, well, basically the moment this deep dive ends.
Yeah.
We want you to walk away not just informed, but genuinely empowered.
Okay, let's unpack this. Let's start with a foundational truth. It's a statement that maybe at first listen, it might sound like, a catchy phrase, something you'd see on a motivational poster, maybe.
Right.
But Hill reveals it to be this powerful, even scientifically observed natural law. He says it's the very first cue to this master key, and it is. Whatever the mind can conceive and believe, the mind can achieve. What I find so striking about this, beyond its immediate power, is that it says absolutely nothing about needing formal education or even needing resources to start with. It just points to this raw, inherent power inside your own consciousness.
Exactly. And the source material, it really drives this home with a prime example. It's almost legendary, really. Thomas A. Edison.
Edison, yeah.
Think about it. Edison, the man who shaped so much of modern life, he only had 3 months of common school education. That's it. In his entire life.
Wow. 3 months.
Yet he conceived the idea of becoming an inventor, a scientist, actually, and he lived to become the world's greatest in that field. His unwavering belief that internal conceptions, not his formal schooling, that was the undeniable driving force behind, well, his monumental achievements. So this statement, it emphasizes that our internal landscape, what we dare to conceive, what we deeply believe, it's far more critical, far more powerful than any external circumstances, any perceived limitations or any lack of, traditional qualifications. Hill himself, actually, he initially harbored doubts. He feared his youth, his lack of education, his financial constraints. He thought maybe he was the wrong person to organize this whole science of success.
Right. Understandable.
But Carnegie's insights, specifically to this very principle, they quickly dispelled those fears. It truly is the starting point, the absolute foundation.
Okay, so here's where it gets really interesting for me, and honestly, quite transformative. Andrew Carnegie, the industrial titan, the guy who literally coached Hill for, over 2 decades?
Yeah, a long time.
He described a specific power that's under our control. He said this power was greater than poverty, greater than a lack of education, even greater than all our fears and superstitions combined. It sounds almost, mystical, like something out of a legend. But Hill insists it's utterly practical, something you possess right now. What is this immense power he was actually talking about?
Carnegie identified it as nothing less than the power to take possession of your own mind and then direct it to whatever ends you desire.
Possession.
Yeah. He considered the greatest gift of the Creator. And here's why. It's the only thing over which we as humans have complete and unchallengeable control. It's like an exclusive sovereign right you have.
The only thing.
The only thing. And Carnegie went on to explain that when you allow yourself to, dwell on your poverty or maybe lament your lack of education or give in to your fears, you are in essence directing this immense mind power to attract those very undesirable circumstances. His profound words were, whatever your mind feeds upon, your mind attracts to you. This highlights the critical, absolutely foundational role of intention, of focus, and of conscious thought direction. Every success, he noted, it begins with a definite purpose and a clear mental picture of what you want. It's a continuous, active process of directing your internal compass. You have to keep feeding it the right stuff.
Okay, to make this truth even more vivid, more memorable, Carnegie presented this powerful analogy. It's almost poetic, actually. He suggested that everyone, absolutely everyone, without exception, brings with them at birth the equivalent of two sealed envelopes.
Ah, the envelopes,
Yeah.
yes.
Right. One is clearly labeled the riches you may enjoy, and the other, quite starkly, the penalties you must pay. Now, this is more than just a nice metaphor, isn't it? It feels like a profound representation of life's fundamental choices. What are the actual contents of these two envelopes? And what does it really mean to, open one or the other?
Well, the contents are quite explicit, and frankly, they're revealing in their simplicity and their power. In the envelope labeled riches, you find this list of 6 blessings, or
Yeah.
assets, as he'll calls them. First, sound health. Second, peace of mind, which he says, no one can truly live without. Third, a labor of love of your own choice, a vocation that brings you real joy and purpose.
Mm-hmm.
Fourth, freedom from fear and worry, those constant inhibitors to progress, right? Fifth, a positive mental attitude, the very engine of attraction. And sixth, material riches of your own choice and quantity.
Own choice and quantity. So not just random wealth.
Exactly. This isn't about infinite, unearned wealth falling from the sky. It's the freedom to define and then achieve the material comfort you desire. This is basically the blueprint for a truly abundant, fulfilling life. It's what Hill is trying to help everyone access with this master key. Now, conversely, in the other sealed envelope, the one labeled penalties, the list chillingly outlines the price you must pay for neglecting to take possession and direction of your own mind.
Okay, what's in that one?
These include ill health, the direct opposite of the first riches, perpetual fear and worry, crippling indecision and doubt, which, paralyze action, frustration and discouragement throughout life, often leading to resignation, poverty and want, the opposite of material riches. And then Hill calls it a whole flock of evils, things like envy, greed, jealousy, anger, hatred, superstition. These aren't just external forces attacking you. They're the internal states that manifest when we fail to manage our own minds.
Wow, that's stark.
It is. The implication here is stark and undeniable. The choice of which envelope to open and ultimately utilize is entirely yours. It's determined solely by your mental discipline and a conscious direction of your thoughts. Hill's entire mission, as he states it, is to provide you, the listener, with the master key to consciously open and use the contents of that riches envelope.
Okay, so this isn't just theory then. It's not just some lofty philosophical concept to ponder over coffee. It's about immediate, actionable change. For someone listening right now thinking, okay, I get it, my mind is powerful, I want that riches envelope, how do we actually start that process? Hill gives us simple, practical, immediate instructions, doesn't he? To begin this journey of mind mastery, what are those crucial first steps?
He lays out 3 very clear, very practical steps you can take right away, like today, to begin directing your mind. First, he says, procure a neat, pocket-sized notebook, something you can carry with you always.
Okay, a notebook.
On page 1, you are to write a clear, concise, and specific description of your major desire in life. This isn't a vague wish list, right? It's that one defining circumstance or position or thing which crystallizes your idea of success. And critically, before you even put pen to paper, remember this. Your only limitations are those you set up in your own mind. Or, and this is important, those you permit others to set up for you. So you need to be bold in your vision.
Don't let others define your limits. Got it. What's
Yeah.
step 2?
Second, on page 2 of that same notebook, write down precisely what you intend to give in return for that major desire. This is a commitment. It's a recognition that there's really no such thing as something for nothing in this universe.
Makes sense.
It might be time, effort, learning a new skill, maybe making certain sacrifices. And then he emphasizes, start now to begin giving what you've committed to. This isn't about some future promise. It's about immediate action. It demonstrates your sincerity and activates the principles of reciprocity.
Okay, start giving now. And the third step.
Third, and this is where the consistent programming comes in, you memorize both of these statements, what you desire and what you intend to give, and repeat them to yourself at least a dozen times daily.
A dozen times daily.
At least. Ideally, he suggests, at the beginning and end of each day. And always end your statements with a specific expression of gratitude. It's a profound prayer from Hill himself. I ask not, O divine providence, for more riches, but moral wisdom with which to accept and use wisely the riches I received at birth in the form of the power to control and direct my mind to whatever ends I desire.
That's quite a statement.
It is. And this isn't just wishful thinking or some ritualistic chant. It's about actively programming your subconscious mind. It's affirming your personal agency and creating a new mental world. a world in which you will inevitably see reflected the circumstances and things you yourself have created through your focused mind. It's a profound affirmation, really. And if you embrace it with sincerity and repetition, Hill promises it will usher in a new and better reality for you.
That's a truly powerful and actionable start, focusing on individual mind power. But what happens when you take that individual power and, multiply it? Hill introduces something called the Mastermind Principle. Now, this sounds a bit like teamwork, which we're all familiar with, but he describes it as something much more profound, something enabling you to achieve in, say, 1 year what might take a lifetime alone. What's the core of this principle, and how does it create such exponential leverage?
Well, Hill defines the mastermind principle as two or more people who work in perfect harmony for the attainment of a definite purpose. The remarkable power, almost magical power, some might say, of the mastermind comes from this ability to, quote, borrow and use the education, the experience, the influence, and perhaps the capital of other people.
Borrow and use. Interesting phrasing.
It is. It's about synergy, essentially, the combined mental and spiritual energy of a group, especially when those individuals are working in a spirit of perfect harmony. That's the key. It creates a kind of third mind that is exponentially more powerful and insightful than the sum of its individual parts. He even notes that such an alliance, when it's truly beneficial to all whom it influences, can offer absolute protection against failure, because the combined wisdom and resourcefulness can overcome almost any obstacle.
Perfect harmony. Okay, that sounds incredibly potent, but also, let's be honest, a little elusive in the real world, right? What if a listener finds themselves in a potential mastermind group where there's friction or disagreement? How does Hill address maintaining that crucial harmony? It seems to be the linchpin of this whole principle. And maybe you could give us some examples, historical, maybe modern ones, of this mastermind principle in action, beyond just the theory.
That's a critical question, because harmony is absolutely the non-negotiable ingredient. Hill emphasizes that the individuals involved must cultivate a positive mental attitude. They need to be flexible and genuinely committed to the definite purpose of the group. Disagreements. They're inevitable in any human interaction, of course. But a mastermind alliance requires the discipline to focus on the shared purpose and to set aside personal egos or minor differences for the greater good. It's really about collective intelligence, not individual dominance. If harmony consistently breaks down, that third mind just dissipates and the group loses its power.
Okay, so focus on the purpose, keep the harmony. Makes sense. What about those examples?
Right, examples. The source material offers several compelling ones. Consider the very inception of the Declaration of Independence.
Ah, okay. Read one.
56 men, diverse backgrounds, diverse temperaments. They knew they might be signing their death warrants. Yet their unity and harmony of purpose, driven by this unwavering commitment to freedom, created a foundational document that literally shaped a nation. Their collective resolve was far greater than any individual fear or, political squabble. On a more personal scale, maybe, there's the alliance between Kate Smith and Ted Collins.
The singer.
Yeah. Kate Smith started as a struggling singer, barely making ends meet. But through their mastermind alliance, Ted Collins, as her manager, strategically guided her career. And she went on to earn upwards of $30 million, which was astronomical then. It was their combined vision and harmonious execution that made it possible. Or think of Edgar Bergen and Charlie McCarthy.
The ventriloquist act.
Exactly. Their partnership transformed a simple act into radio and television stardom, reaching millions, securing their financial future. It wasn't just Bergen's skill alone, right? It was the alliance with the character, the production team, the audience's embrace of that specific synergy. And perhaps one of the most profoundly impactful examples Hill gives is Henry Ford and his wife Clara.
Ah, interesting. A marital mastermind.
Absolutely. At the beginning of his career, Henry Ford was apparently quite shy, lacked self-confidence. He faced immense ridicule from relatives, neighbors.
Yeah.
They called his horseless carriage a foolish contraption. It was Clara's unwavering faith in him, her courage, her constant encouragement that inspired him to persist despite all that doubt. This marital mastermind alliance was absolutely instrumental. It provided the psychological, the emotional foundation he needed to build his industrial empire. He credited her extensively later on.
That's a great story.
And then, on a grand national scale, the United States of America itself is presented as a prime example of the mastermind principle in action. The Federation of States, right? Each maintaining its individuality, but functioning in a spirit of harmony through its central federal government. That created one of the richest, most powerful nations civilization had yet produced. Hill even goes back further, suggesting the first known practical application might have been between the Nazarene and his 12 disciples, highlighting how timeless and universal this principle really is.
Wow. So for you, the listener, this isn't just about historical figures or big national movements then. Hill offers practical, immediate application. It means consciously, strategically forming alliances, maybe within your immediate family, like Ford did, or with colleagues, mentors, even with management maybe, to promote yourself, increase your income. It's about seeking out people who can genuinely help your definite purpose. But there's a crucial caveat you mentioned. You have to control your mental attitude. Actively make yourself friendly, agreeable, because indifference or a negative attitude, well, that brings nothing but failure, right?
Precisely.
Remember, your mental attitude is the one thing you have complete control over. And success, Hill says, it has to be planned and earned in advance, often by taking others along with you. It really sounds like a reciprocal relationship, doesn't it? Not just about what you can get, but what you can contribute to that harmony.
Exactly. Hill emphasizes that true success is, and I quote him here, the knowledge with which to get whatever you want from life without violating the rights of others and by helping others to acquire it. It's never a solitary journey. It's always symbiotic.
Okay, now let's shift gears slightly. From these strategic alliances to a powerful individual habit for advancement. This isn't just about working harder, is it? It sounds more like working smarter, more strategically to create opportunities that might not otherwise even exist. Tell us about what Hill calls the magic principle of self-advancement.
Hill calls this the habit of going the extra mile. He defines it as consistently rendering more service, and crucially, better service than one is expected to render. And this is key, doing it always in a positive mental attitude.
More and better service with a good attitude.
Exactly. It's not about being a doormat or letting people take advantage. It's about strategic over-delivery. He encapsulates this powerful concept in what he calls the QQMA formula.
QQMA.
Yeah, quality of service plus quantity of service plus mental attitude. That equals your space in your chosen calling and your compensation. He observes that truly successful people follow this, sometimes unconsciously, but he wants to show you how to apply it deliberately for rapid, significant, and sustainable results.
QQMA. Quality, quantity, mental attitude. That formula is quite succinct. Let's break it down for a second. So Q for quality, doing excellent work, then another Q for quantity, doing more of it than expected, and finally, MA for a positive mental attitude. And that combination determines your value, your position, your compensation. It's a clear equation. So what are some of the truly game-changing benefits of adopting this habit? Going the extra mile, this sounds like it yields far more than just, a pat on the back.
Oh, absolutely. The benefits are profound, far-reaching. Hill lists 15, actually. But let's focus on a few of the most impactful, the ones that really transform a career, First, and this is crucial, it brings you to the favorable attention of those who can and will provide opportunities for promotion. You're not just sitting there hoping for a break. You're actively creating a magnet for it. It makes you visible to the right people.
Okay, visibility. Makes sense.
Second, it triggers the natural law of increasing returns. It ensures that the service you render will, over time, bring back greater than average compensation. It's like an investment that pays compound interest.
Increasing returns. I like that.
Third, it makes you practically indispensable in your chosen occupation. When you consistently deliver more and better, you become the person they just can't afford to lose, which allows you to effectively write your own ticket in terms of your value and position.
Become indispensable. Okay.
Fourth, it helps you to excel and continuously improve. Because each time you render service, you're not just repeating, you're striving to do a better job than you did before, which inherently hones your skills.
Continuous improvement built in.
Exactly. And perhaps the most compelling benefit of all, it provides the only legitimate excuse for asking for a promotion or higher pay. If you're doing no more than you're paid for, Hill argues, well, you're receiving all you're entitled to.
Fair point.
But if you're consistently going the extra mile, you've earned the right to ask for more, because you're already delivering it. Plus, it develops greater self-reliance, courage, improves your personality, fosters a keen imagination, because you're constantly seeking ways to add value.
So this is really about creating your own favorable breaks, isn't it? Rather than just passively waiting for them to happen. It's active, not reactive. Hill even suggests, I think, that if your current position doesn't permit you to go the extra mile, if you're stifled or limited, you should actively market your services elsewhere.
He does. He's quite direct about that.
And he shares an incredible anecdote about his own secretaries, right? They invariably promoted themselves into better paying jobs because they practiced this principle. He humorously notes that this dedication eventually forced him to marry his then current chief secretary of over 10 years just to keep her.
Juckles. He
I-
does tell that story, yes.
It really underscores the power of this principle, doesn't it? To create demand for your unique contribution, even apparently to the point of a marriage proposal.
It truly does. It's a testament to the undeniable value created when you consistently over-deliver with the right attitude. And to emphasize that this isn't just some, clever business principle, he uses the powerful example of the farmer,
Ah, the farmer analogy.
right? The farmer clears the ground, fences it, plows it, plants the seed, all done in advance, often through grueling labor without any immediate compensation. This is the farmer going the extra mile, acting on faith. If he does his part properly, nature then takes over, germinates the seed, matures it, and yields back to him a hundredfold increase. This shows that the extra mile is deeply ingrained in natural laws, the law of increasing returns. It's an immutable principle. If the farmer didn't go the extra mile, didn't do more than just exist, well, the human race would starve, wouldn't it?
That's a profound connection to natural law. And Hill, always practical, gives us a direct challenge. Something you can try right now, starting today, he says. For 7 days, just 7 days, start rendering some useful service to someone near you that you're not expected to render, and for which you neither expect nor ask for compensation. Do it in a pleasing mental attitude, without telling anyone your plan. Just observe the results. He promises that by the end of the 7th day, you'll find yourself much happier, better liked, and you'll never desire to give up the habit. That's a powerful little experiment in self-transformation, isn't it?
A very powerful challenge, yes.
Right.
Simple, but potentially life-changing.
Okay, this brings us to the inner workings of success, those invisible forces within us. Hill introduces applied faith, which he calls your greatest asset, the gateway to riches, even. Now, this isn't just a vague spiritual belief, is it? It's applied belief, a mental state that has tangible effects. How does Hill define it, and how do we actively harness it in a way that leads to real-world outcomes?
Well, applied faith, as Hill defines it, is the mental attitude wherein you consciously clear your mind of all fears and doubts, and you direct it with unwavering conviction to the attainment of whatever you desire in life. It's the primary means by which we truly take possession of our minds, and crucially, open that riches envelope Carnegie spoke of. The profound insight here is that you can use faith in two ways: negatively, by dwelling on what you don't want, like poverty, ill health, failure, which unfortunately is what most people tend to do, thereby attracting those very circumstances.
Right, the default setting almost.
Yeah, exactly. Or you can consciously take possession of your mind and direct it to think of those 6 riches that came with you at birth, and thereby attract those blessings throughout your life. It's an active, conscious choice. And it's the closest clue Hill gives to truly taking possession of the master key itself. It's really about achieving internal congruence with your desired outcome.
So the successful people, then, are the ones with a greater capacity for belief. Even when the external odds seem overwhelmingly stacked against them, it's like they just have a different lens they look through.
Exactly. Hill puts it quite simply and vividly. Failures see the hole in the donut, but not the donut itself. Successful people, conversely, they see the hole too. They're not blind to challenges, but they also clearly perceive the donut around the hole. They acknowledge the difficulties, but they focus on the possibilities.
Seeing the donut, not just the hole. I like that.
Consider Thomas Edison again. He famously failed over 10,000 times before perfecting the incandescent lamp. Yet his belief never wavered. He chose to see those failures not as defeats, but as steps, as experiments that brought him closer. He made his belief uncover the secret. Henry Ford, as we mentioned, faced immense ridicule, lacked initial finances, but he transmuted his belief into an industrial empire that changed the American way of life. With very little formal education, no operating capital of his own to start. Both exemplify this unwavering belief despite massive setbacks and external naysayers. Hill actually asks you listening, do you have an idea or plan you've done nothing about because you lack self-confidence? He urges you to form a mastermind alliance, just as Ford did with his wife, to break through that wall of fear and inaction. Belief, he says, is truly a magic word. It's the beginning of all successes, the very foundation of civilization. You were born with the privilege of control over your own mind, and you should demand, not beg, what you want from life through this applied faith. Hill himself, born with what he termed the 4 horsemen, poverty, fear, illiteracy, superstition, he famously escaped their grasp through the consistent application of this very principle.
That's incredibly inspiring. So given that, what are the actionable instructions Hill provides for cultivating and applying this kind of faith, moving it from just a passive hope to an active, directing force in our lives?
He gives 6 key, very clear instructions for cultivating applied faith. First, you must know precisely what you want and believe that you can and will get it. This clarity and conviction are paramount. Without a definite purpose, faith has no target to aim for.
Know what you want, believe you'll get it.
Second, give expressions of gratitude many times daily for having received what you want, even before you actually get physical possession of it. This acknowledges that possession starts first in the mind. It shifts your vibrational state, if you will, to one of abundance.
Gratitude in advance. Interesting.
Third, keep your mind open for hunches or inspired thoughts from within. And when you are inspired to action, do not wait. Move on your own personal initiative at once. There can be no application of applied faith without corresponding action. It's definitely not passive wishing.
Act on hunches immediately. Got it.
Fourth, when overtaken by defeat, and you probably will be many times because this is part of any significant journey, remember that man's faith is tested many times before he is crowned with final victory. Accept defeat as nothing more than a challenge to keep on trying, a temporary setback, not a permanent state.
Defeat is temporary.
Fifth, a burning desire for the things or circumstances you want is the starting point of all applied faith. Be definite, believe and act, and keep on acting, even if at first you meet with defeat. The desire fuels the belief, and the belief fuels the action. It's a cycle.
Burning desire starts it all.
Sixth, when doubt creeps into your mind, remember that whatsoever a man believeth, that shall he also reap. Hill clarifies here that faith is guidance. It's not a power that magically brings you what you want, but a power that guides you to go after what you want and get it. Your faith, therefore, is limited only by your own capacity to believe and then act on that belief.
Faith guides action. Okay, that's clear. Now, moving from belief to how we present ourselves to the world, Hill then delves into a pleasing personality. This sounds simple, right? Almost like common sense, like something your grandmother might tell you.
Could be.
But he states that your personality determines your success or failure in selling yourself through life. What are its most important traits, according to Hill, and how do they concretely contribute to success beyond just being, nice?
Well, Hill identifies 4 most important traits while emphasizing that every trait that makes up your personality is under your control. It can be improved or cultivated. The first and most important is your positive mental attitude.
PMA, right.
People pick this up telepathically, he says, without a word spoken. They sense it through the tone of your voice. Is it pleasant or harsh? By the expression on your face, is it soft and open or scowling and closed? And by courtesy and consideration you show, or, well, the glaring lack thereof. It's the trait that immediately attracts people to you or actively repels them. It's like the silent signal you're constantly sending out.
Okay, PMA's number 1. What's next?
Second, flexibility of your mental attitude. This is the ability to adjust to circumstances and other people without losing composure or getting angry. Hill points out, you cannot control the actions of others, but you can and must control your reaction to them. All people in the higher brackets of success, he observed, exhibit this flexibility. They adapt without breaking.
Flexibility, control your reaction. Got it. Third
is controlled enthusiasm. Enthusiasm gives force and conviction to your words and actions. Right, it makes you dynamic, engaging. But it must be turned on and off at will, like a spigot. Uncontrolled enthusiasm, or always being on, can make you boresome, or worse, vulnerable to unwanted influences because you might appear to lack discernment. It's about purposeful energy, not just constant hype.
Controlled enthusiasm, like a dimmer switch, not just on-off.
Good analogy. And fourth is sincerity of purpose. This is absolutely crucial because it cannot be faked. Insincerity, a false front, is always detected, eventually, even by the less astute. And it leads inevitably to rejection and distrust because, well, no one is genuinely attracted to someone who tries to deceive them. Sincerity is a guarantee of genuine connection that no act or pretense can ever replicate. It builds trust, which is the foundation of any lasting relationship or success.
Positive mental attitude, flexibility, controlled enthusiasm, sincerity. Okay, and what about the flip side? What are some of the common habits that actively destroy a pleasing personality? Habits that maybe we're unknowingly engaging in that are silently undermining our efforts.
Yes, the destroyers. Hill lists a comprehensive set of habits to watch out for, as they're pretty much sure to make one unpopular and hinder progress. These include things like interrupting and taking over conversations when others are speaking, signals impatience, lack of respect, sarcasm, expressed through insinuations and those wisecracks that, while maybe intended to be clever, often sting and aren't really so wise. Vanity, whether it's in boastful words or arrogant actions, just pushes people away. Indifference while others are speaking. Hill wisely notes it's far more profitable to be a good listener than a good talker, because listening reveals so much.
Being a good listener, that's a big one.
Huge. Also, attempting undeserved flattery, it's quickly recognized as disingenuous, usually resented. The habit of finding fault with the world at large, or people in general, creates a negative aura. Openly challenging others directly without obvious cause just to be contrary breeds conflict. Volunteering unsolicited advice can quickly make you an intolerable bore, right? People rarely appreciate unasked for critiques.
May not.
Speaking endlessly of one's own physical ailments, worries, personal problems. While friends might tolerate it, it rarely makes you a welcome guest. Endeavoring to convey an impression of superiority, maybe by using unfamiliar words or overly academic topics, can just alienate people. Envy of those who are successful rather than being genuinely happy for their good fortune poisons your own attitude. And finally, slovenliness in body posture and clothing. It always repels rather than attracts, signaling a lack of self-respect.
That's quite a list of don'ts. But the value placed on a pleasing personality is astonishing, isn't it? Almost hard to believe until you hear the numbers. Andrew Carnegie, that incredibly shrewd judge of character, master builder of industry, he paid his right-hand man, Charles M. Schwab, $75,000 a year for direct services, which was a fortune back then.
A huge sum, yes.
But he often gave Schwab a separate bonus at the end of the year of a staggering $1 million, just for the influence of his pleasing personality on associate workers. Carnegie valued that personality aspect more than 10 times the value of the direct service. That's a profound statement on its tangible monetary power, isn't it? A clue for you about where to invest your self-improvement efforts.
It absolutely is. Carnegie, a man renowned for building vast industries, for understanding human capital, he understood that human connection, morale, influence, all fostered by a truly pleasing personality, were invaluable assets. Assets that could not be quantified in standard service wages. It's a powerful clue for anyone looking to increase their market value, their leadership capacity, and their overall success trajectory. It's like the oil that makes the machinery of collaboration run smoothly.
Right. Now we come to self-discipline. This feels like where the rubber truly meets the road, where all this theory translates into tangible action and the other principles become truly usable. It's not just about stopping bad habits, but actively building good ones, the ones necessary to truly unlock that master key. Without this, it seems like everything else just remains potential, right?
Absolutely. Self-discipline, as Hill presents it, refers not only to mastering and eradicating negative habits that hinder success, but perhaps more importantly, to actively developing, enforcing, and sustaining the positive habits you will need to avail yourself of those 6 assets you received at birth in that riches envelope. It is absolutely fundamental for embracing and using the master key. Without it, all the wonderful insights about mind power, mastermind, pleasing personality, they would remain merely intellectual exercises, impotent in their application. It's the consistent effort of mind control and action.
Okay, so what are the crucial areas where we need to exercise this kind of strict self-discipline? To truly take possession of our minds and effectively direct our lives toward our definite purpose, Hill lists several key areas, doesn't he?
He lists 8 critical areas where self-discipline is not just beneficial, but absolutely essential for mastery. First, your tongue. You must gain mastery by acquiring the habit of thinking first, then speaking, ensuring that what you say will benefit you and not injure others. A loose tongue, he warns, is often one's greatest liability, capable of undoing years of hard work in just a moment.
Think before speaking seems simple, but hard.
Very. Second, retaliation. You must master the common, often instinctive tendency to strike back at those with whom you have a grievance. Hill states profoundly that everything you do to or for another, you do to or for yourself, greatly multiplied. If you feel you must slander or lash out, he advises, write in the sand near the water's edge, then move away until the tides have flown, implying its fleeting, destructive, and ultimately self-damaging nature.
Let it go. Don't retaliate.
Third, your emotions, particularly love, hate, fear, and sex. These are the big 4, he calls them, that can make or break you, according to the extent of discipline you exercise over them. They are incredibly powerful forces that need conscious direction, not suppression, but direction.
The big 4 emotions, okay.
Fourth, your mental attitude. We talked about PMA, but this needs constant discipline and control at all times. Lacking it can drive away friends, destroy opportunities, bring on physical illness, make peace of mind utterly impossible. It's the filter through which you experience everything.
Constant vigilance on attitude.
Fifth, the sex emotion, transmutation. Hill reserves this for special mention because failure to discipline it, he believes, probably heads the list of all causes of personal failure. He describes it as the most powerful of all human emotions, nature's great creative instrument. Proper self-discipline here involves transmutation.
Transmutation. What does that mean exactly?
It means controlling and directing this immense emotional energy toward worthy purposes, such as the fulfillment of one's major aim in life. Great leaders, artists, industrialists throughout history, he argues, have learned this art of channeling a raw, powerful drive into highly productive, creative, and purposeful endeavors. It's about transforming that primal energy into something constructive, not letting it run wild or dissipating it destructively.
Channeling that energy. Okay. What else?
Moving on, the sixth area is your stomach. Discipline through proper habits of dieting and fasting is essential for maintaining sound health. Though Hill always wisely recommends consulting a doctor for specific health regimens, he credited his own sound health partly to consistently practicing this habit.
Physical discipline.
Seventh, religion and politics. In our diverse society, he says, we must learn to live and let live, respecting others' beliefs and viewpoints to maintain happiness and prosperity. This often calls for strict discipline over self, particularly in avoiding arguments that serve no constructive purpose, just breeds negativity.
Live and let live. Respect differences.
And eighth, and perhaps most important of all, your mind. The ultimate and most profound discipline is taking possession of your own mind and directing it to whatever ends you desire. Hill devoted his entire life to revealing a practical system for this, one that doesn't require genius or great education, he insists, only the will, the persistence, and a definite purpose. It's really the capstone of all self-discipline.
This isn't just theoretical advice, though, is it? Hill cites incredible real-world examples of how self-discipline has not only shaped individual destinies, but truly changed the course of history. Can you share some of those profound illustrations?
Oh, absolutely. He offers compelling proof of the transformative power of self-discipline. Thomas Edison's relentless self-discipline, his refusal to yield to those thousands of repeated failures, led to more technological revelations during the first half of the 20th century than had been uncovered during the entire previous history of civilization combined. Imagine that scale of impact from one man's disciplined pursuit.
Astonishing.
Wilbur and Orville Wright. They persevered through a multitude of failures, facing skepticism, countless technical challenges, driven by sheer self-discipline to give the world its first practical airplane. An achievement that changed the entire trend of civilization, right? Shrinking the world, enabling global connection. Helen Keller, a figure of just extraordinary resilience. She triumphed over the triple afflictions of deafness, blindness, and muteness, a combination most people never even conceive of through an almost superhuman level of self-discipline, transforming her limitations into a life of profound contribution and inspiration.
Truly remarkable examples.
And Hill himself credits self-discipline for enabling him to carry on through years of, as he puts it, heart-aching discouragement and defeat, to ultimately create the world's first practical philosophy of success. He views self-discipline as the only means to transmute sorrow into faith, hatred into sympathy, and crucially, to find the seed of an equivalent benefit in every adversity. It's how we shut out negative past experiences and discover that other self within us. That self with an almost infinite capacity for belief, uninfluenced by past failures. It even frees us, he claims, from the fear of death and imaginary illnesses, which so often plague the undisciplined mind. Hill's final powerful thought on this principle is worth remembering. The habit of taking the line of least resistance makes all rivers and some men crooked. It's a stark warning about the path of least effort, isn't it?
Wow. Makes rivers and some men crooked. That sticks with you. Okay, from self-discipline, which sort of solidifies our internal control, we now move into the boundless realm of creative vision or imagination. Hill calls it the workshop wherein we fashion the purposes of our brain and the ideas of our soul. This isn't just passive dreaming, is it? It sounds like an active, dynamic process of building and shaping your reality. What are the two forms of imagination he talks about, and how do they differ in their application?
Right. Hill describes two distinct yet interconnected forms of imagination. First, there's synthetic imagination. This consists primarily of organizing and putting together recognized ideas, concepts, and facts in new combinations. Very seldom, he notes, does anyone create anything absolutely fundamentally new. Nearly everything known to civilization is simply a novel combination of something old. It's really about innovating with existing components.
Okay, so synthetic is like mixing existing ingredients.
Exactly. Examples are everywhere. Thomas Edison's incandescent lamp wasn't entirely novel in every single part. It brilliantly combined old, well-known principles of electricity and materials in a new, effective way. Clarence Saunders' Piggly Wiggly stores, which reportedly yielded him $4 million in its first 4 years, a massive sum, then didn't invent grocery items. He simply borrowed the self-help cafeteria plan and applied it ingeniously to groceries. Ah, the self-serve grocery store. Right. Henry Ford's first automobile was a synthetic creation, combining the horse and buggy concept with the steam-propelled thrashing machine engine, taking familiar elements and assembling them for a new purpose. Even the simple Eskimo pie, just ice cream dipped in chocolate with a stick, created a whole new industry through a simple synthetic combination. F.W. Woolworth's 5 and 10-cent stores were a new merchandising system for existing products, not new products themselves. It's about looking at what already exists and seeing fresh connections, new applications.
Okay, synthetic imagination. Makes sense. What's the other kind?
Second, there's creative imagination. Now, this is far more profound, according to Hill. This operates through what he calls the sixth sense, tapping into the subconscious section of the brain. And it serves as the exclusive medium through which basically new ideas or facts are revealed. This is where the true breakthroughs, the real leaps forward, occur.
So this is getting genuinely new stuff, not just rearranging old stuff.
Precisely. Examples here are truly groundbreaking. Edison's phonograph was the outgrowth of creative imagination because apparently no part of it had ever been known or used previously. A truly novel concept of recording and playing back sound. Marconi's wireless communication was also based on basically new ideas, discovering how the ether could transmit sound without wires, a leap into the unknown. Madame Curie's discovery of radium was similarly novel, revealing an entirely new element and its properties. The Wright brothers' perfection of the airplane was partly creative, partly synthetic, as they coordinated existing ideas of aerodynamics with entirely new ones born of their own intuition and experimentation. And Robert G. Letourneau, an apparently unskilled engineer with little schooling, made remarkably effective use of creative imagination by building heavy dirt-moving machinery involving ideas never before used. Hill himself actually worked with Letourneau and witnessed him drawing directly upon this higher faculty, getting ideas seemingly out of nowhere.
That distinction is incredibly important, synthetic versus creative, building with known parts versus receiving entirely new insights. And Hill makes it clear, doesn't he, that your imagination, like any muscle really, becomes dull through disuse and alert through consistent, purposeful use. He even offers a series of suggestions, which are really more like dynamic challenges for you, the listener, to apply your imagination right now, to sharpen this vital tool.
Yeah.
What are some of these thought-provoking challenges he throws out there to get our creative minds working?
Yeah, he lays out a series of highly practical challenges designed specifically to spark and train your creative faculty. For instance, he challenges you to create a new merchandising system for gas stations that could be dispensed by coin in the slot machines, basically imagining a fully automated future for refueling.
Wow, ahead of his time there.
Definitely. Or imagine a plan to make motorists as courteous on the highway as they are in their own homes, perhaps reducing accidents through new incentives, maybe even deputizing good drivers with two-way radios back then to enforce courtesy constructively. He also suggests creating a satisfactory substitute for cigarettes still relevant today, or developing acceptable methods to teach success principles effectively to children, maybe through storybooks for ages 6 to 12, or devising plans to arouse people, to help them recognize and use their mind's potential, essentially, to awaken them to these very principles we're discussing right now. He directly states the best ideas are yet to be revealed, and emphatically dismisses that old notion that all the good ideas have been used up. He even invites individuals with sound ideas to write to him, offering to help them bring their ideas forth and give them to the world for riches and mutual benefit. He particularly emphasizes influencing married people to adopt the Mastermind Principle in their domestic relations, which he believed could benefit billions of people in homes, unlocking unimaginable potential in relationships. These aren't just trivial exercises he's suggesting. They are profound mental workouts designed to flex that imaginative muscle.
That's a powerful invitation to action, isn't it? To actively engage our minds in creation. Okay, next we move to accurate thinking, which in our modern world of just constant information, misinformation, overwhelming data, it feels more critical than ever. What are the fundamentals of thinking accurately, according to Hill, and how do we build this crucial skill?
Well, accurate thinking, according to Hill, is based on two simple yet profound fundamentals. First, there's inductive reasoning. This is what you use when facts are not immediately available. In these cases, you act on hypotheses or what you assume the facts to be, understanding you're working with probabilities, not certainties.
Okay, inductive is reasoning without all the facts.
Right. Second, there's deductive reasoning. This is what you use when you have the facts, or at least what appear to be the facts, on which to base your thinking. It's really about recognizing the starting point of your thought process and understanding the nature of the information you're working with. Are you building from knowns or exploring based on unknowns?
But the crucial step, even before applying inductive or deductive reasoning, seems to be the ability to rigorously separate fact from fiction, fact from hearsay, or just mere opinion. In today's information ecosystem, that feels like a Herculean task sometimes. How do we do that effectively without getting overwhelmed or just becoming cynical about everything?
Absolutely. It's tougher now than ever, probably. Once you're reasonably sure you have dependable facts, the next vital step, Hill says, is to separate these facts into two distinct classes: important facts and unimportant facts.
Important versus unimportant facts. How do you define important?
An important fact, Hill clarifies, is any fact that aids you in attaining the object of your major purpose in life. All other facts, as far as your definite purpose is concerned, are unimportant. And you should waste no time, no mental energy, no emotional bandwidth with them. Most opinions, he states quite bluntly, are valueless, often based on bias, prejudice, intolerance, guesswork, or outright ignorance. And these, he says, lead to unnecessary misery and failure. He believes that the sheer indifference of people who make no attempt to think accurately is the source of many of life's tragedies, as they are so easily swayed by others' opinions or just fleeting, unchecked information.
That makes so much sense. It feels like something we should actively practice in our daily lives, given how much information we consume, especially on social media, right? Where the line between fact and opinion is just so incredibly blurred. It's a mental discipline unto itself, isn't it?
He strongly suggests it. He actually challenges you to take a daily inventory of all the facts that claimed your attention that day, and then categorize them. Was this important or unimportant to my major purpose? He predicts you will likely make a profound discovery about how much time and energy you spend on unimportant facts, facts that do not serve your definite purpose in any way. He shares two powerful anecdotes to illustrate this mastery of accurate thinking. Woodrow Wilson, when asked by a newsman during WWI about the likely effects of the war, famously replied, "I cannot answer your question because I have no facts on which to base an opinion." Hill calls this a masterpiece of accurate thinking, a refusal to speculate without verifiable data.
Wow. Just admitting, I don't know because I don't have the facts.
Exactly. And then there's the story of the Quaker, who, when asked the time, carefully examined his watch and said, "Well, sir, according to this alleged timepiece, it appears to be approximately 1 minute and 10 seconds past 12 o'clock. He meticulously identified the source and qualifier of his information, alleged timepiece, appears to be, showcasing profound care for absolute accuracy, not just a casual glance.
Chuckles. Alleged timepiece. I love that. Okay, so if I'm trying to launch a new product, say, and I spend hours reading reviews of my competitor's completely different product, even if it feels like research, is that actually an unimportant fact if it doesn't directly inform my specific product strategy?
According to Hill's definition, yes, quite possibly. If it doesn't directly aid you in attaining your major purpose with your product, it's likely an unimportant fact, a distraction, however informative it might seem on the surface.
And the crucial question then for you, the listener, to ask when someone makes a statement, especially one you can't immediately identify as true or relevant, is always, how do you know?
Precisely. Hill insists you stand firm on that question, how do you know, to force the speaker to identify their source and its veracity. Or you reject the statement entirely as if it had not been made, no matter who is speaking or what the reputation might be. He gives 7 specific rules to guide you in this. Never accept opinions as facts until you learn their source and accuracy. Treat free advice with caution. It's often worth exactly what it costs, nothing. Be alert to biased or slanderous speakers. Their info is likely tainted. When asking for information, don't disclose what you wish the answer to be, as this biases the response. Remember, anything that exists is capable of proof. Where no proof is available, it's safer to assume nothing exists. Develop an intuitive faculty for truth. You believe truth and falsehood carry silent means of identifying themselves. And always, always ask, how do you know? He sternly warns that your emotions are often your greatest handicap in accurate thinking. It's incredibly easy to believe what you wish to believe, right? But that path unfortunately leads to failure and throws open that penalties envelope we talked about earlier.
Okay, brings us to the end here. Finally, we arrive at what Hill considers the ultimate law, the one that ties everything together, the very basis of all our habits, both good and bad. Cosmic habit force. Now, This sounds immense, universal in scope. What exactly is this force, and how does it relate to our daily choices and our destiny?
Yeah, cosmic habit force. It's a big concept. Hill names it this because he believed it gives definiteness of action to everything in the universe, from the fixed patterns of stars and planets and their custom places to the life patterns of every living thing from the smallest insect to the largest animals. It is an immutable law, he says, binding everything with what we often call instinct or predictable patterns. But man is unique. He alone, Hill asserts, can break the habits established by this force and set up habits of his own choice by exercising conscious control over his mind. This privilege, as we've discussed, is the only thing over which man has complete power of control and direction. It's like the universe's way of establishing order, and we can either flow with its default settings or consciously program our own.
So, this law has both a positive and a negative side, then. It's almost like the universe is a giant, impartial mirror, just reflecting back whatever we consistently project through our thoughts and our habits. Is that a fair way to put it?
Precisely. That's a very good way to put it. The negative application of this law is what Hill calls hypnotic rhythm. This means that if we neglect to consciously focus our thoughts on what we desire in life, this law automatically fixes our minds on what we don't desire, thereby attracting those undesirable circumstances to us. It's like the universe's autopilot, right?
Hypnotic rhythm, like being lulled into negativity.
Exactly. If you don't input a destination, it will take you somewhere by default, which might not be where you want to go, or worse, somewhere you actively don't want to be. It's a powerful cautionary tale about the consequences of undirected thought and allowing negative habits to form and take root. Conversely, when the human mind is consciously focused on a definite major purpose, the law of cosmic habit force goes into action immediately and attracts to the individual the material equivalent of that purpose. The procedure, he states, is inexorable and never varies. It's an indifferent force. It simply amplifies whatever pattern you consistently feed it, positive or negative.
So it's the universe's operating system, and our thoughts are the code we input.
In a way, yes. Cosmic habit force, in Hill's view, is the watchdog, so to speak, that examines every consistent thought and act. And it enforces the penalties or the rewards from those two sealed envelopes we discussed earlier. When you are on the beam, meaning you have a success thought pattern firmly established in your mind, you know what you want, you have faith, you keep your mind busy with your purpose. Cosmic habit force carries it to its logical conclusion, manifesting that reality. People who fail are also on the beam, but they are on the negative side, having neglected their birthright of mind control, allowing hypnotic rhythm, those default negative patterns, to take over. There's no halfway compromise, he says. You either avail yourself of the benefits by conscious direction or accept the penalties by default. This echoes Emerson's law of compensation. Nothing happens by luck. Every effect has its definite preceding cause. It's presented as a universal law of attraction and manifestation based on consistent mental and physical habits.
So a definite fixation, a deep, unwavering belief and focus on your major purpose is the key then, to consciously harnessing this immense cosmic force. It's about programming the universe, essentially, through your own mind.
Absolutely. Cosmic habit force is the power that makes fixations permanent. While doctors, Hill notes, often dread the word fixation in terms of mental sickness, he suggests it could be a priceless asset for those who have discovered the master key and learned to develop positive fixations in their minds. Fixations based on the things they desire most in life. You are the only one who can create this positive fixation by taking possession of your own mind and consistently directing it toward the attainment of your major purpose. This requires unwavering self-discipline and that consistently positive mental attitude we keep coming back to. Your mental attitude, he concludes, acts as a powerful magnet, attracting everything and every circumstance that makes you who and where you are. Give cosmic habit force a clear, definite thought pattern based on what you want most. And with consistent effort, it will do the rest, bringing it to fruition in your life. Hashtag outro.
Wow. What an incredible journey we've taken today. Seriously. From that simple yet profound truth that your mind can achieve what it conceives and believes, through the exponential power of strategic alliances, the tireless advantage of going the extra mile, the inner mastery of faith and personality, the sharp discipline of accurate thinking, right down to these immutable universal laws of cosmic habit force itself. This isn't just a collection of good ideas, is it? It feels like a truly comprehensive, interconnected philosophy for living.
It really does. This deep dive, I think, unequivocally reveals that success isn't left to chance, nor is it reserved for just a select few with special privileges or backgrounds. It's presented as a precise science, governed by principles that you have the power to understand and apply. The master key isn't some external magical object or a hidden secret locked away somewhere. It resides entirely within you, in your innate capacity to control and direct your own mind, to shape your own reality.
What stands out most to you from this deep dive, thinking back over it all? Maybe it's that astonishing value Andrew Carnegie placed on a pleasing personality, valuing it 10 times more than direct service. Or perhaps the sheer resilience of figures like Edison and Ford, whose groundbreaking achievements were fueled by that unwavering, applied faith despite countless setbacks. For me, I think the distinction between synthetic and creative imagination and Hill's challenges to actively cultivate both, that really hit home.
Good points. Or perhaps it's that stark, undeniable choice presented by the two sealed envelopes you brought into the world at birth. Your future, your health, your peace of mind, your material riches. They're presented as a direct result of which envelope you choose to open and consistently utilize through your mental discipline and conscious direction. It's a powerful and ever-present choice, isn't it?
It really is. So this week, as you go about your life, maybe take a moment to reflect on Napoleon Hill's ultimate recurring message. It feels like a profound truth for you to carry forward into every decision, every challenge, every opportunity, he says.
O divine providence! I ask not for more riches, but moral wisdom with which to make wiser use of the riches you gave me at birth, consisting in the power to control and direct my own mind to whatever ends I desire.
That's a powerful thought to chew on, isn't it? A profound recentering. It reminds us that the power to control your mind, your most priceless possession, your master key, is yours alone, a gift just waiting to be fully unwrapped and utilized. So the question remains, what will you choose to conceive, believe, and ultimately achieve with it?
Until our next deep dive, keep exploring, keep applying these timeless principles, and never stop consciously building the future you truly desire.